The Korean War, Spider-Man, and Nixon are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is June 27, 2022. It is the 178th day of the year. We got 187 days left. It is the 26th Monday in the 27th week and the 7th day of summer. We're a week in. If today's your birthday, you're still a Cancer. Today is National Orange Blossom Day. National Orange Blossom Day on June 27th each year encourages us to enjoy orange blossoms for their aesthetic beauty. Orange blossoms have been used in culinary dishes, desserts, and teas worldwide. They add a slight citrus flavor to any dish. That's what it says on the website. Orange blossoms also offer multiple health benefits. When prepared correctly, they make a delicious tea. Some of the advantages may include improved sleep, reduced anxiety, and improved circulation. Did you know the orange blossom is Florida's state flower? You can also get a honey from these. They have a unique, faintly orange flavor to it. All right, let's see what else June 27th has given us. 1844, Joseph Smith, founder of the Latter-day Saints movement, and his brother Hiram Smith are killed by a mob in the Carthage, Illinois jail. You know, not a lot of people realize that Mormons haven't had an easy path to, their independence, their right to worship how they see fit. I mean, Joseph Smith gets killed in prison. The Mormons head out to Utah, and they didn't leave the East Coast just because they wanted better weather. They were sort of chased out of about every area they went to. We could do a whole video on that one. 1864, the American Civil War. Confederate forces defeat Union forces at the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain during the Atlanta Campaign. 1895, the inaugural run of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad's Royal Blue that went from Washington, D.C. to New York City goes down. This was the first passenger train to use electric locomotives. 1914, the Illinois Monument is dedicated at what is now the Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park. 1950, the United States decides to send troops to fight the Korean War. The Korean War is often known as the Forgotten War. I mean, we just went through World War II, and it was before Vietnam, kind of sandwiched in the middle there. It only lasted about 3 years. Really, not a lot of people know what went on there. Well, it happened kind of like this. During World War II, the Japanese moved into Korea and basically took over the entire country. When they were defeated in World War II, the Russians, who were an ally of the United States at the time, took over part of Korea, and the United States took over the other part. And they were separated at the 38th parallel, with the Soviets controlling the North and the United States controlling the South. This was around 1945. In 1948, the Soviet Union decided to withdraw and let North Korea do their own thing. In 1949, the United States withdrew. Well, both Koreas really felt that they should be put back together. The problem was the South Korea thought they should be running the show and the North Koreans thought they should be running the show. So there was a little bit of friction. And then on June 25th, 1950, the North Koreans got a bug up their butt and rushed 275,000 troops across the border and attacked South Korea with great success. I mean, they pushed them all the way down to Busan, meaning they took over the capital city of Seoul and everything. But before they got that far into it, the United States and the UN had, told them not to do it and move back across, and they ignored it. And so 2 days later, the United States decided they were going to enter the war. The United States at the time was really focused on stopping the spread of communism. They felt if North Korea, South Korea became one giant communist country, they'd have bigger problems in the future. So they sent MacArthur and a whole bunch of military to help defend South Korea. And they did. So by early July, the United States had forces on the ground in Busan, and basically they set up a perimeter to defend Busan until reinforcements could get there in August. By the end of August, they had enough forces in country where they could actually go on the offensive. And then, surprise, surprise, MacArthur did an amphibious assault at Incheon, which is not too far from Seoul and really close to the North Korean border. And it worked. It was a rough battle, but they pushed the North Koreans back across the 38th parallel. This was all going down around mid-September. MacArthur, being the, dude that he was, he wanted to go beyond what the UN and Truman had put forth, where it was just containment, get them back across the 38th parallel and call it good. He wanted to go in. Eventually, and I think reluctantly, Truman agreed. He was a little worried that the Chinese would have a response. On October 7th, 1950, UN forces, led by General MacArthur, went into North Korea. The UN troops, led by the Americans, took over the capital of North Korea. Their victory was short-lived because about 250,000 Chinese joined the battle and pushed the UN and American forces back across the 38th parallel. By January of 1951, the North Korean and Chinese military had pressed past the 38th parallel and retook Seoul. MacArthur had the great idea just to drop a nuclear bomb on him, or an atomic bomb at the time, and he kind of demanded it, and Truman dismissed him. He was out of a job. So by June of 1951, with MacArthur gone, Truman went back to the containment thing, sent a bunch of more reinforcements in, and they chased the North Koreans and Chinese out of Seoul, back across the 38th parallel, where they kind of pulled the reins back on the military and told them just to hold the line. And they did. Now, there was still shooting back and forth, but there was no more advances south or north by either sides. Most of the action after that was air combat. In early 1953, President Dwight D. Eisenhower took over. He's an old general from World War II, and he saw an end to the war. After some negotiating back and forth, an armistice was agreed on in July of 1953. Now, since then, 1950s, there hasn't been any major conflicts. There have been people that defected both ways. There have been the occasional shooting back and forth, small arms, not like artillery or rockets or anything like that. I think there was a sinking of a intelligence ship back in the 1980s, but no major battles since the 1950s. Technically, South Korea and North Korea are still at war. That is the Korean War in a nutshell. 1957, Hurricane Audrey makes landfall near the Texas-Louisiana border, killing over 400 people, mainly in and around Cameron, Louisiana. 1974, U.S. President Richard Nixon visits the Soviet Union. That was kind of a big step. We really weren't on speaking terms at that point. 1982, the Space Shuttle Columbia launches from Kennedy Space Center on the final research and development flight mission, STS-4. 2013, NASA launches the Interface Region Imaging Spectrograph, a space probe to observe the sun. Movies released on June 27th, 1990, Days of Thunder. This was a pretty good movie. Tom Cruise plays a rookie NASCAR driver. Robert Duvall plays his jaded old crew chief. It's a really exciting and funny movie. It's kind of cool. It's got everything. It's got a lot of humor. It's got a lot of action. It's got a love story. Everything you want in a good summer flick. If you're a NASCAR fan, you know about the movie, but if you don't know about this movie and you're just getting into NASCAR, a lot of the old NASCAR drivers make cameos in this movie. Born on June 27, 1975, Tobey Maguire. Do you know who Tobey Maguire is? He's an actor who swung to fame as the star of the 2002 film Spider-Man and was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for his role in Brothers. His roles in Seabiscuit, The Great Gatsby, and Pleasantville additionally bolstered his fame. He's a pretty good actor. I really liked him as the Spider-Man. I didn't like the middle Spider-Man that was played by Andrew Garfield. Those three Spider-Mans, they focus too much on Peter Parker, who's his alter ego or his secret identity, Peter Parker, and then he's Spider-Man. Anyway, Andrew Garfield played him, and they just focused on him instead of actually Spider-Man too much. It was weird. But I like the first three with Tobey Maguire and the latest three with Tom Holland. All three of them came together in the latest Spider-Man movie. If you haven't seen that, he brings different people from different universes, or, whatever you want to call it, the multiverse, and three Spider-Mans are together. It's very interesting. Besides acting, he also does voiceover work. He's done quite a few video games, including Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Never met the dude, but he really just seems like a down-to-earth kind of a cool person. I'd like to meet him sometime. Died on June 27, 2004, we lost George Patton IV. He is the son of General George S. Patton. I guess when your father is a general like George S. Patton, you go into the military. Seems like the family business to this guy. He graduated from West Point at the end of World War II. He never saw any action there, but he was in Germany during the Berlin Airlift in 1948. He commanded the 140th Tank Battalion of the 40th Infantry Division during the Korean War, and he also saw action in Vietnam. Interesting fact about him, later on, like in the 1970s, he was stationed near Stuttgart, Germany. During World War II, his father was one of our best generals. Well, the mayor of Stuttgart was actually Manfred Rommel, who his father was Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, who Patton had gone up against during World War II. They became friends. The two men celebrated more than one birthday together. They were both born on December 24th. Their friendship continued till Patton's death in 2004. George Patton IV died of Parkinson's disease at the age of 80 in 2004. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a productive day, and be nice to each other.